Welcome back. Welcome back to the course, Privacy and Security in Online Social Media. We are in week 5, part 4, almost close to half of the course. I hope you are also realizing that we have come 5 weeks now in the course. And I hope you are enjoying the course and you were so to say, taking the content that we're seeing in the course and seeing some connections to the real world, seeing some connections to whatever you're doing, applying to your own work, applying to your projects, interested in coming and doing something with us. Everything is going on. Reach out to us if you need any help, if you have any questions about the content that we're seeing. So this is the week 5 part 4. This is the last part of the content about the credibility fake content itself. Right. So this is the part 4. So we're going to look at practical solutions, right? In terms of the systems that have been built, systems that have been tried out to combat the fake news problem. But if you really think about it, I think this is the culmination of everything that we have seen until now, where you can build technologies, put it out there, get people to use it, or build technology, get it as part of a company, get it as part of a startup, get it as part of a research project that you push it out and see how it goes. I hope some of you are interested in trying it, and I hope you will, not just this problem, I think any content that we're seeing in this class is can be easily connected to real world and things that we do otherwise. So you can easily build solutions, build technologies around it, the content that we're seeing in the class, and take it forward also. Here's the first one. I think that, again, this is a statement that I've said before also, not comprehensive. Right? It's going to be extremely hard to cover every single technology that has been built as part of finding the fake news, fake content problem. But what our goal here is to showcase some solutions that are built and some methodologies that have been used also, right? A classical methodology that we have seen before is to just, in terms of research analysis, in terms of research questions, in terms of analysis of data itself, we have seen, right? Simply collecting tweets, doing some human annotation, creating a model, creating a testing phase, where you give some more. Here you give a smaller set of data, you give a larger set of data, and then you classify whether it is fake or real. Simple architecture for making a choice. Right? Now you can think of this itself in a tool. That's what this tool does, and many other tools that we're going to see does, which is TweetCred, which is Twitter, tweets, and credibility cred. Right? So that's the idea for this solution. Here is an interesting way that this plugin was built. That is, it's a Chrome browser plugin, which is when you go to your Twitter account, in addition to the tweets that you see, there is an annotation for the tweet that is given. Right. Like today's, if you see TripAdvisor, today's that you see Zomato, Amazon, anywhere you give its rating on 5, right? 4.5 on 5. So here it is rated on 7, but the idea is some rating of the content itself. But this rating of the content is done in multiple ways, using the things that we have discussed before, which is content, profile, network, all of that. Content is the tweets, profile is professor, computer science, IIT Hyderabad, all of that. Network is people who I have connected with, people who are connected to me. All that can be put together to create the score. And the score can come in your timeline of the tweets. It can come in your DM. It can come in your public posts that you do. All of that messages basically can be annotated with this value. Meaning in this case, if you see there is one blue circle, in this case there are 4, in this case there are 5, in this case there are 2. That's the difference in the way that the tweets are perceived. And you can also change, meaning you can also give input to the model's output. For example, the way you could understand this is that, like, let's take, for example, this is fake and this is real. And you actually think that this fake is not fake, but it is actually real. You could give an input to the system, and the model can actually take that input back and update the model to understand that these kind of feedback is coming from the user. And once in a while, you can actually update the model. This can get captured first. First, you can capture it, and then you can update the model, right? These are very common now in machine learning. These kind of feedback mechanism is used to update the models. Whether you can update the model in real time, you have to really think about it. Active learning, all of these methods have come up. But the point is that the simplest way to think about it is you collect this data. For example, in this case, what is going on is that so the end user, whoever is looking at this tweet, is when they click on this annotation, they get saying the credibility score 4 on 7. Do you agree or disagree? Agree, nothing happens. If you disagree, it'll actually ask you saying that, okay, if you disagree, it is 4 on 7. What do you think the value is? You say that, no, it's 7 on 7. That's the kind of feedback you can actually capture from users to help update the model. How does the score get created? So every tweet that shows up on your timeline we have already seen, has a tweet ID. That ID is sent to through the Chrome extension. Then the ID is fetched data from Twitter API. Now that I have the ID, I can actually go to the Twitter API and say that, please give me all the data about this tweets, which is who posted it, time of the post, all of the features that we have already seen, 65 features. That's why we were building all of it until now in terms of the social media content, in terms of what fake news is, all that, so we can actually see how these solutions work. So you get tweet ID API token. With that, you send it to Twitter API, ask for details. Features are generated. We know now, right? What features to use, which features work better, creation date, URL, what are the words that are used in the tweet. All of those features can be taken together and enable to create a score. That score is what is here. The score is created, and then using the score, now you can actually say that send score via API. So you create the score, and that score is sent back to the browser saying this is a tweet ID and the credibility is 3, and that 3 value shows up here. You can use, again, this credibility score is the important aspect here, important component of this whole architecture. We can decide how we want to actually measure this, what features to use, what weightage to give to what feature. All of that goes on here, and that gets implemented. The score is sent back to the browser saying it is actually 3 on 7. Not a very complicated design. It works, right? So this is the do you agree thing, and if you do you agree, you say disagree, then you'll have to actually give the score of what the value is. Just enable these two screenshots are same as these two screenshots, right? So do you agree? Then do you agree, disagree? And so if you say do you agree, right? This is when you disagree, it says credibility is 1 on 7. Now you want to say it as 4 on 7. You click it, and the value 4 is getting captured for this particular tweet. It worked fantastic, meaning I think at that point in time, this work was getting a lot of attention across across media, across research community, across systems that were built, all of that. We have had fantastic conversations with people about this solution that we built, which is called TweetCred. If you're interested in looking at this particular work, you should just look for this PhD thesis. This is a culmination of many other pieces of work that Aditi did to look at credibility score on Twitter, right? And if you're wondering, this is called academic lineage, which is I got my PhD from CMU, she got it from IIT Delhi, and then my advisor went to UW, University of Washington, and then UIUC, her advisor. So that's how academic lineage is got some fun part. So if you just trace the academic lineage, that's Harvard, MIT, Northwestern, UIUC, University of Washington, and CMU and IIT Delhi. Right? That's for the PhD. So now that we have seen it for Twitter, right? Twitter, we have seen TweetCred, and now Twitter has certain features. Twitter has the set of network that we can get, the features that are there, URL, everything. Now, if you just take the Twitter as in the features from Twitter, and if you just apply it, create the model, and then take the model, go apply it on Facebook, how well it'll work. You can pause the video and think about it for a second, how well it'll work. Which is same pipeline. I trained the model on, so for example here, I trained this model on data from Twitter, but I'm testing it on Facebook. Right? So it's an interesting question to ask. We asked and we were surprised about the result. The results are the Facebook testing on Twitter training is extremely bad. The solution, the accuracy is very bad. So that's when we started thinking about, probably Facebook needs a different set of models. And on reflecting on what we did and what we learned, it's actually pretty clear, right? Because in Facebook, the kind of features you get are very different from what features that we get on Twitter. Right? In the Facebook, if you get a post tagged, if you've set, you are reviewing the post when you get tagged. If there's a post that you get tagged, there's high likely that that post is connected to you, or the person wants to say that you are connected. The edge between the people connections in Facebook is much stronger than the edge in Twitter. Just because it's the two-way relationship, right? Which is I have to send a request and you have to actually accept it, and that's when the relationship in Facebook creates. Whereas in Twitter, I could follow 100,000 people, but not really, meaning they don't have to follow me. And then if they follow me, there's no real meaning that there is two-way connection, the connection in Facebook, there is perception that the connection in Facebook is much stronger just because of this two-way acceptance for creating a link between the handles. And of course the features also, right? You don't get the network because in Twitter the followers are there, in Facebook the friends are there, but you can't really get it because it's kind of closed. I could set up my Facebook account where you don't even get to see the number of friends that I have. So that's why we started looking at Facebook as a different model that we want to build. Pratik actually worked on this. So for the first time in Eiffel Tower turns off its lights since 1952 in memoriam of more than the 100 victims who lost their life. This was Paris attack, yeah. Pray for Paris attack, and then 1995, 2016. All of these posts, these are all fake content that was spread on Facebook at some point in time. Can you do the same method as in Twitter to do? Unfortunately, no. So we started building this Facebook inspector, which would look at very, very similar to the TweetCred. Here it'll actually show you some nudges about the post, how real or fake it is. When you click on it, it'll give you some values of why we decided that it's actually fake, why we decided that it's actually real. All right, so that's what a Facebook inspector is. Facebook inspector architecture, very similar to TweetCred. So this is again the front-end architecture, which picks up Facebook, which picks up the post. So Facebook.com, Firefox, or Chrome. It takes the post, and then it kind of brings the value for the content that is from the browser, takes the ID, sends it back, sends the ID to the Facebook API, fetches the data, generates the feature. The score is getting created. When the score is ready, it pushes back to the Chrome. Right? Very similar architecture for what we saw on TweetCred. Just to sort of say inside view of what it works. From the API, you create ground truth extraction, which is a models are already created. You generate the vector, which vectors are very useful, and depending on the model and depending on the features that we have already studied, we make a choice with the features and the content that is available to us, and the values are sent to the Chrome browser. Very abstract view of what is going on. Of course, there are lots of details. Of course, these models have become so advanced from the time that we did actually this work. So probably today, if you were to build this architecture, we could build it slightly differently. But at the 30,000 feet high view of what the architecture would be, I think today also the architecture would be very similar. So this one was, again, if you are interested, you should look at this PhD thesis works that Pratik, where we looked at, again, all of these questions were asked from a fake content point of view, keeping Facebook in mind. Facebook was Pratik's primary focus as a platform. So while doing this Facebook, WhatsApp became very popular in India, and then we thought we should actually study WhatsApp also. We ended up actually connecting to what earlier parts of this week we saw, taking WhatsApp itself as a source data and making lots of these inferences. We created this platform called Watch for Z. Watch for Z as a platform, and looking at same architecture, which is given the image, given the image or the text from WhatsApp, can you actually send it to Watch for Z? This is WhatsApp application that you have. This is Watch for Z. Let's take, and can you send this content from here to Watch for Z? Watch for Z does all the analysis of the TweetCred or the Facebook inspector that we saw. and sends back the values of whether it is fake or real. And that's what it does. So in this example also you will see it has a text, it has an image. When the image is given as an input, the model is saying that which part of it is morphed, which part of it is spliced. All this we have already seen in the earlier content for this week and the earlier week. Right? Uses multimodal content to make the choice whether it is fake or real. And this work also got a lot of media attention. Even if you go look at in Google now, you will see search for what's fuzzy. You will see a lot of articles written on this kind of work that we did. One way to actually collect this data from users, even though earlier part we said about public groups from where you can collect programmatically. We had collected at some point in time, even made some numbers public, made some numbers popular, where we were actually getting people to forward this message. If you remember the tip line that we talked about, that's exactly what we tried, where people could actually forward the messages to this WhatsApp number, and this WhatsApp number could collect and do the processing in the back end to understand whether these images are these content is real or fake. Again, tip line that we talked about before, just to refresh your memories, where people forwarded the messages. Using that, there were analysis done to say that when is the content coming to a tip line compared to when it is in the public group. That's what's for Z. Same meaning. If you're interested, feel free to go take a look at this URL. And then see what, and then interestingly, we also gave some sort of geeky information on why we decided this image to be fake. For in today's words, explainability is what I think we can say that, which is explain why we did what we did and explain the results in terms of the features, what weightage we give for what features, and why the values are created. There's another system called Credai, a credibility lens for analyzing and explaining misinformation. There's again, the goal is to create automatic credible assessment wherever possible. You can build these tools, and that can help. So the Credai is also using the same kind of architecture. It takes a natural language claim, which is, we have already seen this earlier parts of this week and the earlier week, where we saw that there is a content taken, there is human annotators doing it, looking at the content, seeing which parts of it, what claims are given, why is that claim even relevant. They go look at other sources, make some references, and finally do a verdict whether it is fake or real. Exactly the same thing. It takes natural language claim as input from user and automatically analyzes its credibility. Credai captures joint interactions between language style of articles, their stance towards a claim. So all of this you could we know how to do, right? For example, LIWC you can use and get some responses from LIWC. Extraction of supporting evidence in the form of enriched snippet makes the verdicts of Credai transparent and interpretable. So given that you can actually say why you're making the choice that you're making, why you're giving a 4 on 5 versus 1 on 5, the users can be more happier looking at the explainability part of it. So text claim, input as text for which you want to check whether it is real or fake. Search engine uses the other sources, finds the different sources that we get, and the stance that is from these texts. The content analysis is done, then the scores for each of them are created. Some way of aggregation of the source is done, and then it is given as true or false. And the trustworthiness of the sources are also calculated, which if you remember we talked about what and other mechanisms, and evidence is extracted from that, from the true or false, and then you can say that this is fake if you remember the tractor and the tractor or crane plus car example that we saw before. It could say that, look, these are two different images taken in two different places, exifs are very different, and therefore it is actually a fake content. Right, so that's what Credai would do. And Credai can give you, I mean, this is the dashboard of Credai. Feel free to go to take a look at it. That's the paper from where this is taken, but it gives you a credibility score of this 0.3355, and the score is very similar to what we saw on TweetCred, and trustworthiness of the article, stance of the article, supporting evidence is also given why they think that it should be, the credibility score is low, and credibility assessment across the articles that they have. And these kind of dashboards become very, very helpful, right? I'm sure that there are many more such dashboards which we don't know. Meaning we are only looking at what is publicly available and we're talking about it. But I'm sure an organization A can build these kind of dashboards for organization B, which only they use, proprietary tools, all of that. Birdwatch is another mechanism that Twitter itself tried for finding misinformation. A community-driven approach to help address misleading information on Twitter, which is, can you actually show a tweet when it comes out? Can you get it annotated by users who are using Twitter? Get feedback from the users about the tweets, and can you use that to make a judgment whether it is real or fake? That's what Birdwatch did. Birdwatch allows people to identify information in tweets they believe is misleading and write notes providing informative context. The notes are visible directly on the tweets for the global Twitter audience when there is consensus from a broad and diverse set of contributors, right? So there is this notes that people write for every tweet, and that can be used to judge whether it is real or fake. Hawkeye, this is one of the recent works on using crowdsourced mechanism or community-based mechanism to attack the fake news problem. A robust reputation system for community-based counter misinformation, robustness of Birdwatch against adversaries. That's what the paper does, and the paper also goes on to find out what are the ways by which you can actually look at reducing the misinformation on a platform like Twitter through Birdwatch. Being a system that depends on users' input, the Birdwatch systems can be vulnerable to malicious. That's the right. There are like 20 people who can come together on Twitter, and then you write the same kind of things for tweets as in notes, saying all of them are good. It can be actually misleading. That's what the vulnerable here means to malicious actors. Such actors can add fake ratings to notes to increase or decrease the perceived quality of the content. Vulnerabilities identified by Hawk, the user trustworthiness in writing notes. Who's writing the notes, right? Can anybody write the notes? User trustworthiness in rating the notes. Can anybody rate the notes? Twitter accuracy. How much Twitter is actually using and how accurate is Twitter producing results from these notes that users are giving. Of course, note credibility also, what the credibility of the content that is generated through notes. So those are the content that we had for fake news. Of course, there's a lot more. I think I said this earlier. We could generate a complete course on fake content identification also for 30 hours or so. But I think given that our course is on privacy and security in online social media, We are looking at only the problems that are connected to social media, but which are spreading across this broader definition of privacy and security. Hopefully, you were enoughly motivated from the content that we are seeing as part of this class. And please keep in mind the pros conditions of the course, which is what I'm using to create all the content. Thank you for listening. See you soon.